Hi folks, we are in Mobile, Alabama. Right now we're at the National Maritime Museum here in Mobile, about to have an opportunity to see truly one of the most iconic ships of the last 100 years, the SS United States. And here at the Maritime Museum, up at its observation deck on level 5, you have a really good look out at the ship. We're going to get even closer than that, don't worry. We're going to be going on board the Perdido Queen. But also at the Maritime Museum, coming up either late this year or possibly next year, there's going to be 2 levels devoted to Jimmy Buffett. How cool is that? A Jimmy Buffett museum. He from nearby Pascagoula, Mississippi. Now here we have an opportunity to see the model of the SS United States. The drawing was actually done by the son of the owner of the model, who has loaned it to the Maritime Museum, a gentleman by the name of Fred, who is also a volunteer here at the Maritime Museum. Had an opportunity to spend some time with him. If you saw the simulator of Lori being a ship's captain, that was Fred that was taking her through that simulation. Can't wait to get an opportunity to see this amazing vessel here very soon. So we are here at the Mobile Convention Center. The Perdido Queen is docked just behind the Convention Center. So the Convention Center covered parking, really convenient to get right here to the Perdido Queen. So simple. When I looked at it on a map at first, I thought, well, gosh, can you get lost in there? No, absolutely no way. A lot of construction going on in downtown Mobile. Was a little hard to not get here, but it was hard to get to the Maritime Museum and the park, which is nearby, but very easy to get here to the Perdido Queen. They're working on downtown revitalization that's going to be really neat when it's all said and done. There was also a big tour group here of veterans from a veterans home, which I thought was really neat. Have the opportunity to go out with them, hear some of their stories, have the opportunity to thank several of them for their service. So very cool, feel very privileged to be taking this cruise to the United States with them. Excited to go out on the Perdido Queen today. She was built in Freeport, Florida by Freeport Shipbuilding in 2002. She was built for the Big Dreamer Incorporated, originally called the Spirit of Texas in Galveston, Texas. Hudson Marina of Orange Beach, Alabama, bought her back in 2014, relocated her to Orange Beach, Alabama. And if you've never had the opportunity to go to either Galveston or Orange Beach, beautiful places. Given that she had a regionally specific name, Spirit of Texas, when she was relocated here to Mobile in 2019, they decided to rename her to the Perdido Queen, which she is christened with today. The Perdido Queen operated in Orange Beach until its current owners, Willie and Anna Jones, bought the boat from Willie's father, Rodney, and moved her to her current home. The staff on board the Perdido Queen are just excellent. I liked one of the things they do. They take your picture when you first get on, like you would expect, but there's no hassle. It's sent to you in email. If you want it, that's great. If you don't, that's also good. A ticket price on the Perdido Queen, I think for seniors, you can get on for $33. They have group rates. Our tickets, because you pay a fuel surcharge, came out to about $96 for both me and Lori, and it was money well spent. We really enjoyed it. Every seat on the Perdido Queen is a good one if you're in the top observation deck or the one on bottom. They offer murder mystery cruises, romantic dinner cruises. You'll have a great time. Any one you do. We're going to come back and do several. We really enjoyed it. So we're going to go up to the top observation deck, and once you are seated, you're going to have the opportunity of beverages on this type of cruise. No food options. Of course, if you were on the dinner cruise, then you would have a pretty amazing dinner option.
You heard them. They're excited upstairs. I hope you are as as well too. We're going to go ahead, we'll start our tour by talking about Mobile's riverfront. That's going to take us about 10 to 15 minutes, which is just plenty of time in order to get down to where the SS United States is located. So when we get downstairs, downriver, where the SS United States is located, I will invite you to get up at that point, and you can wander around the Perdido Queen. You can go outside, you can take photos, you can do whatever that you want to. And for the rest of our tour, you can be wherever you want to on the ship, other than at the house. Yes. Only one person said yes. All right now. Once we get downriver, I will join you outside on the decks, and we'll talk about the SS United States, but I do want to introduce you to one person right here. We have Steve Perry right here, and no, he will not be singing for you today, but Steve Perry is an expert on the SS United States. He's got some more information that I don't have as far as the ship's concerned. I will hand him the microphone, and he can tell you a lot of details about the ship. Probably so many details that you could go home and build your own ocean liner when you're finished with it. Itself, she has a play setting from the dining room and a lot of other fun stuff. Also, she's brought her own movies, and we have those digitized so that we can play them on the television downstairs, so you can actually see the ship in its heyday. So now that we're on the river, let's talk about Mobile's riverfronts, okay? So I'm going to always start, is the oldest city in the state of Alabama. Who wants to take a guess at what year Mobile was founded? 1611? No. Somebody said 17 something.
1703.
1703 is not correct.
Good try that.
1783, no. 1698. All right, okay. 1702. I thought I heard something over here. That is absolutely correct. Mobile was founded in the year 1702.
Close.
Just 1 year before the very first Mardi Gras celebration held.
That's what I was thinking was Mardi Gras.
And that was 1703, and I can see how you would get those two confused. But this land once was home to the Mobile Banana Dock. And for almost 100 years, Mobile was the third largest importer of bananas for access. So the city leaders at the time, they built the convention center, they built Cooper Riverside Park, and then they had all this other land that was for future development. We'll talk more about those later on, but let's talk about this building that was built about 15 years ago, and that is the National Maritime Museum. Oh, the exhibits. These are highly interactive exhibits. And if you make it to the top level, there's a simulator there that will allow you to pilot your own ship up the Mobile River Channel.
Yeah, that was fun.
A lot of fun. But guess what? Next year, that museum will dedicate 2 levels to become the brand new Jimmy Buffett Museum.
So after some brief safety protocols from our tour guide and a short trip down the bay, finally we were here at the SS United States. Time to get a better view. Nearly 1,000 feet long. You can read all you want to about the United States, but to see it up close is truly breathtaking. Nearly 100 feet longer than the Titanic. Everything was made out of metal. The ship designer, who was kind of a novice designer, but had really made major fans within the military, he was determined that everything that could be metal was metal. And obviously she's still with us today because of it.
All right, there she is. The SS United States. Her nickname was the Big Q, and it is the Big Q.
Her maiden voyage was in 1952 and still owns the transatlantic record. 3 days, 10 hours, and 40 minutes. She was a state secret, wanting to really prove a point that the United States could be a leader in shipbuilding. She may look rugged. She's still beautiful to me. The United States came here to Mobile by way of Philadelphia, where it had been since 1996. It was transported there by its previous owner, and they had hoped at the time to return her to life as a cruise ship. I think that would have been really awesome. So it was docked there in Philadelphia at Port 82 for almost 30 years, and then in late February it came here to Mobile. Okaloosa County, Florida, which is the newest owner of the United States, is going through environmental remediation. And then the ship will be towed and submerged in the Gulf, and it'll become the world's largest artificial reef. At least that's what Okaloosa County is hoping to happen. They want it to be a tourist attraction, and there are people, obviously, to this day still fighting that. William Gibbs, who was the self-taught naval architect and marine engineer who brought the United States to life. It had been his lifelong dream to design the fastest ship in the world, and he did that. His firm ended up designing over 60% of all the nation's heavy armored ships in World War II, which is still just an outstanding fact, and I doubt ever to be duplicated. Ended up making 5,000 total vessels for the United States, and he's widely regarded today as one of the foremost naval architects to have ever lived. And he was deeply attached to the United States, and he would call every single day on that maiden voyage. The SS United States Conservancy organization is actually headed by Susan Gibbs, his granddaughter. And famous people wanted to be on her. To be on the SS United States in the 50s and 60s had to have been an amazing time. So luminaries like Marlon Brando, Coco Chanel, Sean Connery, Gary Cooper, Walter Cronkite, Salvador Dali, Walt Disney, Duke Ellington, Judy Garland, Cary Grant, Charlton Heston, Bob Hope was on the maiden voyage, Marilyn Monroe, Grace Kelly, Elizabeth Taylor, John Wayne, one of my personal favorites, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. And the ship also carried 4 presidents: Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Bill Clinton. The SS United States was envisioned to represent the country, and it did. The fastest ship. It was a super weapon during the Cold War. A ship that was known for its luxury, but could instantly, within 48 hours, be a troop carrier. It was to set a statement, and it truly did. But a lot of people ask, how fast was the United States? Did it ever truly try to see how fast it could really go?
The same strength can be obtained with a considerably lighter section.
So the ship could travel extraordinarily fast.
Debate continues to rage over the ship's top speed.
Because it's one of those mythical subjects that all fans of this ship talk about when they get together.
We cruised at 32.5 knots.
At full bore, she could do 38 knots plus.
I've heard lots of different figures bandied about.
40 miles an hour at the size it is.
45 knots during her trials. That's almost 55 miles an hour.
I mean, that's flying across the sea.
And we all try to keep it real and honest.
She could go 50 miles an hour.
I know what I would like it to be.
36, 40, 42 knots. That's pretty amazing.
There are those who claim to have been on the ship when she was doing 40 knots.
They kicked her up to about 42 knots on her maiden voyage.
And you could feel it.
People say that she went as fast as 50 knots.
Her absolute top speed for 2 hours during her sea trials in the spring of '52 was 43 knots, which is about 46 miles an hour.
But that would take huge amounts of power and fuel consumption.
And then she did 39 knots on her maiden voyage.
Which is damn fast.
There are those who say the ship could do 50 knots.
I've heard it.
She made in excess of 50 knots.
No one really knows how fast she could go.
So 32 knots, 43 knots, 50 knots. Will we ever truly know? Probably not. But one thing everybody can agree on, man, she was fast. You know, being here and seeing the United States and just kind of being in awe of how large a vessel this is, how powerful a vessel this is, understanding what a statement piece this was for the nation, I would love to see her cruising again. I would love to see her making new memories for passengers in modern times. And if you're curious as to how much that would cost, well, estimates have been kind of all over the place, as you might expect. But from a low point of $500 million to as much as 1.2, even $1.5 billion. So probably somewhere in between could get you a very nice ship, probably somewhere between $800 and $900 million. And no private enterprise has been able to make that viable. I would love to see the government step in, if that is even a possibility, just because of how much this ship meant to the country. But unfortunately, more likely what we're seeing, because of the new owner who purchased the ship for $10 million, Okaloosa County, Florida, they mean to use her as a tourist destination. And unless things change, even though the organization out of Brooklyn is fighting it, that is indeed what will happen in the very near future. You can still tour the United States through the end of May, and so we were really happy to have the opportunity to see it. So as we make our way to the bottom observation deck of the Perdido Queen, we're going to have a really cool opportunity to talk to a woman who was on board the United States when she was just 11 years old, Miss Pam Papless. And it's really cool for her to recount her experience and to see some memorabilia that she brought back from the ship.
63.
Oh, wow. You were 11 years old?
But as you can see, they've laid out some new anchor chain on the floor of the dry dock.
We went to the Caribbean, which was called the West Indies and Panama. So I was on it for 16 days.
Oh, wow. That's a long
most
time.
everybody that went to Europe was on 3 or 4. And
Right.
got off and did their vacation. And ours was the whole thing on the ship. So it was, I feel like I was on it for quite a while.
I bet.
That's what it looked like before it got rusty.
Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, you can just flip pictures over if you want to. Try to get things on both sides just to give somebody an idea what it looked like instead of a lot of rust.
Cool. Hey everyone, Lori here. I actually got to speak to Miss Pam. She was a real sweetheart. Unfortunately, at this point in the video, the speaker of the tour guide was really loud and it was really hard to hear her. So we're going to play a clip of some of her thoughts here now.
And learn their stories. The food was wonderful. It was just, you seldom stayed in your, they called them staterooms, because there was just a lot of activities outside.
Pam has had the opportunity to reconnect with former passengers of the United States through the Perdido Queen, which she said has been really a lot of fun. And she also has her thoughts on what's to become the fate of the United States.
I'm glad it's going to be that instead of a scrap in the scrap yard. I hated to see it go down, but the maintenance on it would have been terrible to get it back to its original condition. So I think it's the best for the ship. There's still a lot of interest in it.
Yeah, the Comfort's been here in Mobile for almost a year. They did some work on the inside of the hospital itself to make it more technology. Right, exactly. Yeah, it's sad though because
it's always so interesting wherever we travel along the Gulf Coast to see how important the maritime industry is, whether you're here in Mobile, Pascagoula, Pensacola, you name it. Hank Aaron's father even worked here in the Mobile Bay. So I'm happy to note that I had heard some erroneous information earlier. The tours are not going to end in May. The ship is actually going to be here through December. So the Perdido Queen will be offering tours of the United States well up to that point. So every week, the tour is from 3 to 4:30. So if you have an opportunity to get to Mobile and see it, I highly recommend it. The Perdido Queen, a great group of people, great tour. Love the captain and his story. Love talking with Pam. Love just everything about it. It was a lot of fun. And the cost, I have mentioned this earlier, but it's around $96 because you pay a fuel charge as well. The tickets themselves are in the $35 range, but taxes and all, fuel surcharge, you're looking at a little less than $100. And to me, it was well worth it.
Is that your... Yeah, that's mine, I guess. I was making a new friend and she was in the military.
Oh, I know. There's lots of friends who make it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, you know, I can't believe it's federal.
All right, so now directly in front of us, you're going to see the map of the Mobile River, and just beyond that is Mobile Bay. The little island in front of us, that is Little Sand Island.
Like muddy waters.
And north of that island is the turn-in. That is site of the new Hostel expansion. Hostel is a shipyard here in Mobile. One of the largest employers employs 4,000 people. But they got a contract recently to build a submarine. That is where they're building it. They'll be good.
I'm running your dinner.
I had 2 engine rooms, so if one got torpedoed,
oh, wow.
There'd be
Was this
another one.
Bender shipyard?
That'll give it
Okay.
enough power.
So what shipyard was this?
15,000.
I got to tell you, just listening to the stories of these veterans was almost worth the price of admission itself. Just a great group of people. So in the end, what can we take away from the story of the SS United States? Well, she's a reminder of an era when ships were not just about getting from point A to point B. They were about making a statement, pushing the boundaries of technology, offering experience like no other. The United States was the ultimate symbol of American pride and achievement in the post-war era. And though she may be sitting quietly in a dock today looking, well, on the rough side, she'll always be remembered as one of the greatest ships ever built. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate you taking this journey with us. This was definitely one of the neatest experiences of my life, getting to see the United States up close. There's just something about it you almost can't put into words. And getting to do it with my wife and getting to do it surrounded by veterans of most of the armed forces, not only the Navy, but Army was here, Marines, Air Force. That was a whole lot of fun. And the Perdido Queen, just a great experience. Loved having the opportunity to visit with the captain. Just really a great time. I would highly recommend it. I've been Aaron with Passing Through Productions. I highly encourage you to seek out more info on the United States. There's tons of info online, several videos about the history of this iconic vessel. And if you want to get actively involved in helping to preserve the legacy and the history of the United States and find out what they're trying to do to continue to keep the memory alive, even into setting up a museum in the future. Much of what was on board, a lot of the fittings, so many mementos and memorabilia is in storage and is awaiting use in some sort of museum. So I would highly encourage you to go and visit the SS United States Conservancy webpage and find out more about what's being done to make sure this legacy remains intact for future generations. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day.